I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 at 5:31. Janelle, could you please take roll call?
Bertle,
Here.
Bell,
Here.
Shumway,
Here.
Grutzmacher,
Here.
and Schmitz.
Here.
We're assuming that Zashki and Ward will be arriving a little bit later.
They're here.
You shouldn't assume I'd be arriving late. I arrived at 5:30.
Okay, so Rob is here because he's not on my list.
Rob is here.
Okay, and how about Lauren?
Lauren is not here.
Okay. So Zashki?
He's here.
Okay.
Okay, comments, correspondence, and concerns from the public. Is there anybody in Zooming in tonight that would like to address a non-agenda issue? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I so move.
Second.
Motion by Grutzmacher, second by Bell. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
I have
Motion
one
by,
correction.
okay, David.
Page 7. From last week, it says that the required wiring and basic components have already been installed. The soffit lights but must not be set to come on automatically. I thought we said you cannot wire the lights.
Correct. We did.
They've already been wired. Later on, they confirmed that. That they just don't turn, because you guys said if they had been wired, that then they just couldn't turn them on.
Well, that it says automatically, so I think it should just say they can't be turned on.
We can change that language to say that
Okay.
they can be turned on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was a motion by Zashki, is that correct? To approve as amended?
Correct.
Is there a
Second.
second?
I'll second.
Second by Bell. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 1, discussion regarding the proposed first addendum to the plat for Northern Door Properties Condominium that was submitted by representatives of Northern Door Properties LLC for parcel number 1810005312843B1, which property has been assigned an address of 10678 North Bay Shore Drive and is commonly referred to as the Cedar Shop property.
So this is an addendum that staff has received for the hotel motel condominium project going onto the property. This is just a formal process for Plan Commission to review them. And then we see that it gets recorded. It was included in the packet if anyone has any questions.
What has changed? I mean, I skimmed through this. I don't understand.
It's just the changes for the units, for the hotel motel condominium. That's it.
What kind of change, Bo?
Just to include them into the plat.
Okay. Okay, instead of only having 4 buildings on the plat, now it's showing.
All
Okay,
of them.
Correct.
okay. And Randy Nesbitt looked at this?
Randy did not look at this because this is just to get recorded. We can't make any changes to this. This is just a formal process to have Plan Commission approve them so that we make sure that they get recorded.
Okay. Anybody else have other questions?
Nope.
Then is there a motion to accept or
So
approve?
moved.
Motion by Zashki,
Second.
second by Schmitz. All in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item number 2, discussion regarding the terms of the development agreement for the hotel motel condominium development Gary Wiesa will be constructing at 10678 North Bay Shore Drive, and review of related grading, utilities, and drainage plans. Bo?
Yes, so staff developed or created this development agreement for the hotel motel condominium. Now that we have all of the paperwork and all of the plans submitted, reviewed, and approved. This was included in the packet for Plan Commission's review. If there's any questions or revisions, this is up for discussion. There are several sections that are highlighted. We just need to fill those in. And then this just needs to be recommended for approval to the village board.
Okay, in the future, when we have development agreements, can staff fill in all those blanks but still highlight them?
Yes, we can do that. I'll make a note.
Thank you. So I guess on page 46, under village approvals is the first highlighted blank.
Correct.
So Gary, when do you think you can have the project completed by?
I would like to put in a date of probably late next year, just because of potential COVID delays and supply chain delays that we may not be aware of at this point. Our hope is to have it done by June 1st, but I guess we'd like a little leeway into the fall.
So what date would that be, Gary?
November 1st.
Okay. I think that's reasonable, seeing it's already August now. Okay, and then we go down to the drainage, grading, and utilities plan that were reviewed at,
That last month, so we can include
That,
that.
well, those are included in the packets today, so you guys have to make a motion to approve them.
okay, so if we approve them, it's August 24th state.
Yep,
And I presume Robert E. Lee has signed off on this.
Yes, that is correct. And Dan Clancy as DPW director.
Okay. And what are the approved building materials and colors?
so Gary, what will your siding, what type of siding do you plan on using?
The smart siding.
Okay, and what color will it be?
I don't have that sheet in front of me. It's like a charcoal gray, and I think it was mahogany was the accent.
Okay. How about the balconies? What material will be used on them?
There are no balconies.
Okay, so that's NA. How about the trim?
Smart siding. It's a lighter gray.
Okay, so smart side, and that's light gray, okay. How about the shingles?
Yeah, that's
Are they architectural?
it's a Weatherwood, Northwoods, I think is a brand.
Okay,
Yeah, architectural shingles.
okay, so Weatherwood architectural, and what's the color? I'm sorry.
Weatherwood is the color name.
Oh, okay. So they're architectural shingles and the color is Weatherwood. Okay.
Okay, then on to the next page, project phasing. The developer acknowledges that the total development will be completed by, which is a duplicate, so November 1st of 2022. Correct?
Yep.
Are there any other highlights?
Nope.
Okay, does the Plan Commission have any questions on the development agreement as presented?
No. I'm assuming that the print or the design is still as we approved.
Yeah. Nope. That was approved at the last meeting.
All
Yeah,
right.
And those plans are attached.
I can hear somebody's television in the background and it's making it difficult to hear.
I just don't recall ever approving something like this without actually seeing the building materials. Were they
building
presented at
materials,
a previous
As
date?
referenced at last month, have been in the office for over 2 months.
Okay, well, we're not in the office very much, so.
That was made pretty clear. I did send out emails letting them know that they were in the office.
To observe, yes.
So noted.
So is there a motion to recommend to the village board that the development agreement be approved as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Bell,
I second.
second by Gretzmacher. Any further discussion?
Bo, are those the ones next to your door in the office that I looked at when I was in earlier this last week?
There was 2 different sets. I'll just double check if there's.
No, I did look at them. Okay, enough.
Yes, Mary Kay, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And then Denise, you'll need a motion, or you have to talk about those grading, utilities and drainage plans.
Oh, yeah, we should probably do that before the development agreement.
Yeah,
Okay.
Do I rescind my motion? So we can discuss.
Sure.
I'll rescind my motion then.
Did somebody second it?
I
Gretzmacher?
did. I'll rescind my second.
Okay. What page is that on?
It starts on page 41.
Okay.
Starts with the existing, and then it shows change.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve now I've scrolled past the drainage? Help me out, Bo.
You need the utilities and the drainage plan approval.
Okay. As presented and signed off by Robert E. Lee and Dan Klansky.
So moved.
Motion by Schmitz,
Second,
second by Gretzmacher. All in favor, respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Okay, now back to the development agreement.
Yep, now we can get a motion in a second for that.
So Nate, do you want to make that motion again?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Bell,
I'll second it in.
second by Gretzmacher. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 3, discussion regarding a request from Chris Schmelz to allow the addition of a sauna at the Door Hotel, which is located at 2329 Mill Road.
Yes, so included in my reports, you are receiving plans for a sauna to be included on the door of the property. This will meet the setback requirements, even though this is a planned unit development piece. It will be over 10 feet from the side lot line between CHOP and the Door Hotel. The sauna would be considered an accessory structure. The plans were included in the package showing about 72-inch in height, 72-inch in width with a door with the renderings included, which shows a wooden barrel with shingles on the top. I know that there was a graphic or a reference to a vent on the top that will not be included in this one. I believe that they are available to answer any questions. Yep, Chris is online to answer any questions.
Well, I don't particularly care for it. I would much rather see, if you want a sauna, that it be built inside the building. I don't like its placement. I don't know how anybody else feels. Rob?
I would like to start with the question on the description of the proposed sauna where it says it would be for installation in the fall. Does that mean it comes fully assembled? Or is it going to be assembled on site and then installed?
It would be assembled on site. It's a
Okay.
short period. Put it
And then
together.
it says it will be placed on a hard structure. So does placed mean you're not going to secure it to a hard structure? You're just going to set it down?
Whatever that's recommended by the manufacturer to do.
Well, wouldn't you know about that before you present it or? So
Well, I mean,
in
I
other
think-
words, it would be secured or it would just be set down and people at Fall Fest or whatever else could try to move it and it would move.
I guess if we felt there was any security issues or if somebody messing with it to move it, we could definitely secure it down.
And the hard structure that it would be set on is what?
Concrete.
Okay. And then is this electric or,
It's electric, yes.
and then how would the electric be connected? I mean,
By
would there be
code.
cords running to the main building? Would you be having an electrician digging up landscaping to run lines underneath from the building to the sauna?
Yes, we have electric stubbed out to the outside of the building to accommodate that.
So when you say stubbed out, does that mean it's already done and waiting, or it would have to be done before you build this on the property and then install it?
Well, the wire would have to be run from the building to the unit, yes.
Okay. So there would have to be digging related to that then.
Trenching,
Right.
it's really not, it's not that big.
We are going into the period of the year where development and building is allowed in that district.
And then would this be intended for paying guests of the Door Hotel only, or would you sell individual entries?
For right now, we're looking at just paying guests.
And then how would that be controlled?
A lock and a code.
Thank you.
I agree with Denise. I think this should be inside the hotel. I don't think this should be outside.
I agree also. There's already a lack of landscaping in front of that building, and just adding this barrel between the two buildings just won't fit.
I agree.
Does anyone travel to our western states where this is extremely common? It's considered a resort experience. It is not inside, and it's only held during cold weather months.
Nope.
I don't really care what they do out west, sorry.
And so
We,
what is?
we have winter for 6 months of the year, Denise. It makes sense here.
Well, if it's only for the hotel guests, I don't see whether it makes any difference whether it's outside or inside in the cold.
Well, we'd open that to that. I think, if you were saying, hey, look, it would be for others as well, we could open it to that as well, for discussion on that.
That doesn't change my opinion of what it looks like and where its placement is. It may change somebody else's opinion. Nate, do you have any opinion?
Well, one, I do enjoy a good sauna, and I do know that it's nice to have it outside in the winter and all that, but I do see it being a little bit cluttered on that part of the parcel. I do think that there was a lot of interior space that could have been dedicated to this. I do understand an outdoor sauna is different than an indoor sauna, but at the same point, an electric sauna is kind of a joke to me too, but that's just, maybe I'm a little bit of a purist when it comes to that. I don't have particularly strong feelings either way. It is a nice amenity to have, but I don't think it's done very well this way.
I
Yeah,
become less.
the purpose of it is for a winter drawn attraction is the reason why we're proposing this is having a draw in the winter months where you can be outside, you can be around a fire pit, you can be in a sauna, and have activities around that. So it's really for a winter draw.
How are people gonna get to and from the hotel?
Good point. Nate.
Outside.
Okay, but so you're gonna have, they're just gonna go on concrete slab?
Well, they'll walk around the sidewalk, yeah.
That can be a little bit of a challenge there. Some people try and do it barefoot and they will, I mean, I've done that. I've gone out in the sun and run out on the concrete pad afterward, and it's not very pleasant. I suppose they'll have to make accommodation for that. I guess.
Yeah,
I'll
I
also
mean, the
help-
idea is to be outside, to have, have fun. You're in nature, I mean, not necessarily in nature. But
Yeah,
snow's out and, thinking out west, as Mary Kay had said, it's a custom, it's a tradition in Scandinavian countries, and we're looking to bring that to Sister Bay.
Is there a particular reason that this was not designed or part of the original plans? Is there a particular reason why in all the lead up to this being built, that a couple months after you're open, now you've come to the conclusion you need one of these, but the tradition of it and all that was not desired 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Well, Rob, no, we've been planning this and talking about this all along, and it's the construction of the building was a lot of work and so it's about getting the project done, up and running, and looking for other amenities that we proposed to add. We know it's a process, and we had to focus on getting the building complete. So the reason why we didn't bring this up earlier is we wanted to get the building done first.
We had a long conversation at our work session last night where we changed some wording in the zoning code pertaining to accessory structures. And what was it that we said that it had to complement the principal structure. Am I correct from our conversation last night?
Yep.
Yep.
And I think it was visually compatible
Visually compatible and
and
complementary.
complementary.
Yep, thank you, Rob. Mhm.
Maybe if this had been discussed from the beginning, when we were talking about the Door Hotel in general, this could have been brought up, discussed, and better planned to be more compatible.
And that's where I was coming from, Marge. You phrased it better than me, but that's, if Chris is saying, they've been talking about this from the beginning of their plans. I don't recall hearing about it back, before.
I think the rendering would help, and I'd also caution that I was not there for the discussion last night, but the discussion last night on the work study session is the code that we want, not the code that we have. So we'd have to look at it in what we currently have in place.
Right, it also says basically the same thing. We just fine tune it. It actually was more restrictive the way it's currently written, Nate, where it implied that it needed to be made out of the exact same materials as the principal structure. And so we changed it to be a little more lenient.
I think that it's just too hard to picture this based on the information we have at hand to say whether it's going to be compatible or not. And it might be as simple as we need to have it painted a matching color or an appropriate contrasting color or something along those lines. So as ridiculous as it might seem, I think a rendering would help me make an assessment far better than what I see right here, because I do see what I see here I can't imagine that fitting. But that could be a failure of my imagination.
I'm going to make a motion to deny. Motion by Berto,
Second.
second by Gretzmacher. Further discussion?
I don't feel I have enough information right now, but we are working under the current code. And Chris, just so you know, when the code changes, things will have to be adaptable to be visually similar to the principal structure. And that's in every zoning district, to my recollection. Whether you have a shed in your backyard.
All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Carried. Sorry, Chris. Item number 4, discussion regarding a request from Door County Medical Center to schedule a public hearing on a proposed certified survey map that will combine parcel number 1810008312812K that has been assigned an address of 2345 Canterbury Lane and parcel numbers 1810008312812L1, 1810008312812L2, and 1810008312812L. I'll make that motion. Motion by Berto,
Second,
second by Bell. Discussion?
I was just gonna add, this is a pretty simple CSM request. They're all zoned the same. This is to make one lot larger by taking over 3 neighboring properties that are all owned by Door County Medical now.
All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
And then Denise, I'm assuming you want your public hearing to be conducted at the next regular plan commission meeting, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Item number 5, further discussion regarding the request from Lance and Bridget Crane for a conditional use permit that will allow a residential condominium project to be constructed on the property located at 10607 Little Sister Road, 10611 Little Sister Road, and 10620 Little Sister Road, and review of revised site erosion control, utilities, grading, lighting, and landscaping plans, as well as building elevation drawings and floor plans, a traffic analysis report, and a mock-up of the proposed historical sign to be erected on the previously mentioned property. Is somebody from, are the Cranes with us or representatives from Delirious that would like to walk us through this?
Hi Denise, this is Anuj here.
Hi.
So yeah, I'll be here kind of kicking it off for the Cranes and for the development. Bo, did you want, I know you have the submission. Did you want to share that?
If you want me to, I can pull that up.
Okay, yeah, it might be helpful.
Give me 1 second.
Yep. Thank you. So thanks everyone for taking the time to review this. And thanks Bo for kind of helping us put this together as well. So kind of we're here today to present all the plans that Bo had requested and the Plan Commission had requested, taking into consideration the comments that we've received over the last year. Our hope is today that you can approve these plans so we may draft a development agreement and then move on to getting that development agreement approved, hopefully in a special meeting. And then we can present at the next village board meeting. So I just want to, Bo, and you can kind of scroll along here, maybe to
Okay.
the index page or the overview. And so oh, that's okay. I'll keep going to the next appendix. We can go to the cover page, Bo.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of an effort to zoom in and out of this.
Yep, my computer's a little slow, so you may need to bear with me here for a second.
Okay. Yep, so here is the proposed site we've been discussing. Some of the changes that you'll see is that, originally when we came to on that inland parcel, we had proposed more density, and now we've brought it down to the Commission's request of 12 townhomes. So this is approximately half an acre per home on the inland parcel, and then quite a bit of room on the waterfront parcel. And the overall, I just wanted to mention the overall green space on the site has increased as well, and is definitely above the 40% minimum. I think on the inland parcel, it's at 67%. And if I could see those on the cover page, it actually lists it out. It just isn't showing up right now. And then on the waterfront parcel, I believe it's at 75% as green space. So again, here's the proposed site. Another few things I wanted to point out here is that on the right-hand portion next to Grandma's Cottage, you'll see the access path, that waterfront access path that was Bo, just right to the right, not that one, to the right of the Grandma's Cottage. Nope, just keep going
Here you
that
go.
path.
Yep.
And it's not going to be exactly straight like that. You'll see in the landscaping plan that's in later in this package, it's weaving in and out of trees, and it's going to be more architecturally pleasing, but it's really a walking path for the inland parcel residents to get to the waterfront. And there will be that 20-foot wide easement that we discussed. It'll just have to go around Grandma's Cottage and not interfere with that.
Where does it show the exact 20 feet on the plan?
So we talked to Bowdoin about this. They'll incorporate that. It's just, we would have to list it as a future easement since it's not drafted yet, but we can show that as a future easement.
Well, your path as on the plan shows that it's only 4 foot wide.
Yeah, it'll be 4 to 5 feet because we don't want to encourage somebody to drive their car down this thing. You know, we really just want to encourage a walking path that's conducive towards the development and kind of quaint. So we didn't want to have people starting to drive anything down this path. This is existing, so we can kind of move from there. Here's the erosion control plan. And if there's any questions on this plan, you know, we can defer to Bowdoin, who's also on this call for that.
Okay, so this is utilities.
Yep, here's the utilities.
We could stop here.
Okay.
I believe we requested that you loop the water, and it didn't appear that way to me.
Yep, and we discussed this with Bo, and I know Bo sent us these questions this afternoon. And Bo, do you want to read that email, or would you like Skylar from Bowdoin to address that?
You can have Skylar address that.
And Skylar, I think you're on here.
I am. Hi, everybody. I'm Skylar Witallison from Bowdoin Engineering. I had talked to Dan Klansky, the village utility main guy, this morning, and he had given me the public main, both sanitary and water mains, the alignments of them. And I had then shown to him what our proposed plan sketch is for our sewer and water mains. After discussing with him, he and I are of the same mind that it's fairly impractical to loop those in any manner back to the public mains. There's no good way to do it.
I understand that you talked to our DPW, but this was a condition of approval. And when we talked about that, we had talked about our fire chief saying that certainly it would be better to loop it than not loop it. And that was one of the criteria in our discussion, to have it looped instead of having 4 dead ends.
So, Bo, I know we answered some of these questions in the email that we provided you earlier today, but to Denise's point, I know that, Skylar, I know there's also a fire hydrant that's going to be on that site. And then in addition to that, there are points where you could access a sewer and water line. Denise, I'm not sure if that particularly is answering your question. I think it's definitely more of a question for a civil engineer. But, you know, we did reach out to DPW to understand, hey, is this practical to, or is this possible to do?
And
maybe
that's
it's a
fine. Dan
discussion.
Klansky may have looked at it and said, absolutely. But
And maybe it's
Dan
a discussion.
Klansky did not direct and put the condition on, the plan commission did to loop it.
And maybe if the concern is that we have to discuss this with the fire department, we can, you know, definitely do that to address any issues they might have. But we did try to, you know, loop the overall driveway for access to go in and out of the development. And that was what I thought the driveway was, you know, supposed to facilitate.
A hydrant would have always been required regardless, so that's a moot point.
Okay.
I understand where Denise is going with this. A condition is a condition. It can be met. I'm not sure. I guess I'd defer to more discussion.
I guess what you just said, Mary Kay, that a condition is a condition, but I guess it would be good to hear directly from our engineering and our DPW as to if this makes sense. If this doesn't make sense and it's not a condition that we should have, well, then we should know that. I don't really want to take the word of a developer, no offense to yourself or somebody, an agent of a developer. I guess I would consider that, but I would want to have that discussion outside of this meeting. I don't see how we can approve it without having a chance to get our questions answered, because condition for condition's sake isn't, I don't think makes sense, but I understand the overall logic behind looping everything, Denise.
And that's, and you know, when we had the second meeting on the conditions where we did drop some after that closed session conversation we had, I mean, this was still left in there. And so I guess I'm just flabbergasted that it wasn't drawn that way.
I think we had to go through the process of understanding, you know, how this would actually lay out in real life. And that's why we approach, you know, the city engineer to better understand if it was possible. But again, I totally respect that you have to approach someone within the city to see if, you know, it's possible or probable. And I would defer to kind of what Nate Bell said.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other comments on this page? Okay, we can move on then.
So this is the grading plan.
Mhm.
Has Robert E. Lee looked at all of these plans? Yeah.
Yep. And Robert E. Lee gave us just very minor feedback. There was no major issues. Everything, like I said, was clarified before this meeting with their engineers as well.
Okay, thank you.
Landscaping plan. Sorry, my computer's frozen at the moment.
So you can leave this up. I mean, if you want to make it smaller, if that's what you're going to do, that's fine. I was wondering, because I simply cannot tell if these trees that are being proposed to be planted are meeting the criteria of at 40-foot intervals.
We can address that with Bay Lake, and we can look specifically at that. And also there's going to be additional existing trees. So we just have to work with them as we move towards construction set to show the existing trees as well. These sample bollards were just to show the limitation on the light pollution. So these would be really the only lighting within that inland parcel.
What about the lighting of everybody's back patios and decks?
So we'll try to limit that with architectural features. I believe we can work on that.
Because in your landscaping plan, it did not show any trees planted along the property line behind the inland townhomes that butt up to the golf course. And
That's a very good point. I think that's where I want to defer to Bay Lake and get a plan where it shows the existing trees that are going to remain, because there's quite a few trees.
there
on
are
that
some. I
timeline.
looked at an aerial on a GIS map from the county. And there are some, but it's certainly not, it's not full, and it's here and there.
Okay, we can certainly address that.
Okay, I know there was a question on the tree removal plan, and I did address this with Anaj, and we did get an updated set here. If you want to expand on that while I pull it up.
Sure. So we worked with Bay Lake on that tree cutting plan, and I think the question was whether we're within that 30% threshold of the trees that are being removed, and it's 26%. Overall, there's 269 trees, I believe, and 63 are being removed. And I think the numbers are in my email to Bo. So that's 26%, and 36 new trees are being planted. So I know the first question is how many are being removed, so that's 26%. And then with the 36 new ones being put in, I think the net effect is about 11% less trees from the original site.
That is what's in the email, and that was forwarded along to Plan Commission members before the meeting.
Okay.
And then how does that compare to the 40% removal you quoted, Bo?
That was the count that I estimated from the plans here. That's why I asked them to clarify that, as they have the plans and the numbers there. I also had a count done with Denise, and we had two varying numbers, and it was because my screen wasn't showing the difference between the black trees that are going to be removed and the blue trees that are existing.
Okay, thank you.
So in the tree cutting section, it talks about on the shoreland 350 feet from, I believe, the high water mark.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So
that is
where
correct.
does the 350 feet from the high water mark go?
I can-
Where is that delineation line on?
We can show a new plan showing that. I wouldn't know, immediately at this moment where that would be. And I think also the code is also referencing a 30-foot wide and 100-foot of shoreline. So it really references when you go to a 30-foot depth that there's no clear cutting that's up to 30%. And we're definitely not doing that per the code.
So it may be appropriate to have an updated tree removal plan depicting that.
Yeah, depicting that line, of course.
Okay, here are the renderings for the homes.
So I did a quick if you want to stop there, Bo. A quick calculation on the facade of each of the units, A, B, and C. And on none of them was the garage less than 30% to the front facade. And we talked about that at length multiple times. And not only does it not meet that criteria, but 2 out of the 3 obviously dominate the front facade, which is not allowed. This is not the first time that this has been brought up.
Mhm.
And I think that the architecture on them is extremely simple, unappealing. I think all the design work went into the Crane's home and not these homes.
I think unfortunately our computer renderings are not really doing justice, and Jim DeLears can kind of elaborate more on the design. And of course, we're going to work with the village on the ultimate material selection. So I think unfortunately, it's just the limitation of our renderings. And Jim, do you want to kind of address what will be added and the variation? And then possibly
And
the
that
garage?
very well may be, but we still have a garage dominance issue.
Yep.
So, yeah, we did have some technology limitations with our renderings. That's why there's lack of landscape. And there will be some additional architectural additions to all the elevations. They're not, the homes actually won't even be gray in appearance. The D unit, which is the water facing unit, is a better representation as it relates to color. Our colors will be earth tones. The siding will be premium siding with 3 variations of earth tones similar to Crane's. It's following more of a mountain modern architecture style. And to address the elevation issue, we did scrap the original floor plans. It may not look like it, but this is a completely new floor plan and rendering that has actually elongated these buildings more. We simply run out of space to try and drag out the length of the building anymore, and it ultimately doesn't work for the layouts of the floor plans. And this is a low density development, so it's not a typical condo building where you would have just a small single 1-stall garage.
So are you saying that because you can't make the homes wider, that we should not follow our own code?
Well, I think these are an exception because they're a single family home in lieu of a 2-plex or a 4-plex or a multi-unit facility.
In the R1 district, where single family homes are, the garage is also not supposed to dominate the front facade. So that criteria is everywhere in our code.
We can also look at the measurements. I know, Denise, you're saying this is 30%. We just want to confirm with our plans.
Sure, I don't know if I can, when Bo is screen sharing, I cannot pull up my calculations that I did on each of those. So maybe when he's done with that, I can go back to that and share what I came up with.
Here, I can stop sharing for a second and then go back.
Yeah, we can pull up the exact square footage and percentages. I can't do it now, but we can certainly do that.
Yeah, but we can provide that too.
Well, just for the sake of conversation. I just have to scroll. You'll have to bear with me momentarily. Oh, and it takes forever. Okay, so on the A's, I had a width of that at about 63 feet, 6 inches. 30% would mean that you would have a 19-foot wide garage and you have 23. So basically you're 4 feet over on A. On B, I had a width of 58 feet, 6 inches 30%, the garage would only be 17.5 feet wide. And you're at 23, so that's a 6-foot difference. And on C, waiting for the page to load. I have 57 feet wide, 30% would be 17 feet for the garage, and it's 23, again, 6 feet over. Not even talking about how far C protrudes from the front of the house, dominating the front. So those were the calculations I came up with.
And we can review on our end as well.
Okay.
And get back to Bo. And Bo, it sounds like you need material selections.
Yes.
before- Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in here.
I wanted to point out on this is just a rendering. It doesn't show the actual trees that will be in front of the home. And the tree cutting plan that Bo got from us today, the revised one, that'll show the trees that are remaining in the front. So this does not do a good job of showing that vegetation.
Can you tell me what the square footage of the home is?
I think it's right around 3,800 or 4,000.
Really, why did I come up with 56, over 5,600?
I don't think it's 5,600, but I can I can ask Lance, he's not available today, or I know Berg Homes is working on this home. I think it's roughly 4,000 square feet.
Because it was very difficult. I couldn't blow it up enough on the screen to have a clear, I think I wrote down the right numbers, but with the lower level, the main, the garage area.
I know there's 4 bedrooms, and discussions with the builder and Lance, it's roughly 4,000 square feet. And I may be off by a couple hundred square feet, but I don't think it's anywhere near 5,000.
Okay, I'd like clarification on that. I find it, well, I'll just save that conversation.
Denise?
Yeah.
Denise, this is Bridget Crane. I'm sorry, I didn't know how to unmute myself there for a minute. Lance is actually driving back from a business meeting and I'm on the call. Yeah, the house is just over 4,000 square feet. So I'm not sure where you're getting the 5,600. It's definitely not that big. So
Okay, I
we
was
can,
going off of square footage that was on the plans.
Okay. You know what? I'll put that as a follow-up for us to just double check that number. But according to the last plan I saw, it's 4. So I'll confirm that.
All right. Thank you,
Yep.
Bridget.
Sure.
I was trying to zoom in on the numbers. I can't zoom in farther.
Right.
I know, Bo, you had kind of requested this, so Bodwin provided the data that they had.
So speaking of traffic analysis, one of the conditions that we changed that we're requiring now is that Little Sister Road is supposed to be videotaped, and if there is damage from construction in the vehicles that go down there, then it would be your responsibility. I would like that videotape to be done within the next couple of weeks and turned over to the village for our review. And even if you take photos of certain parts of that to complement the video or point out, any potholes or anything that are there that can zero in on that.
So Denise, you just want a review of the existing conditions?
Yes, and because if the road deteriorates to a degree that the village feels that all the construction vehicles damage it even more, it is the Crane's responsibility to fix that.
Yep. Okay, understood.
Okay, and then here's the sign that was part of the conditions list, so they included it in the packet.
And I just want to reiterate, this is only a mock-up. I mean, we just are trying to, we're going to work, of course, with the village and whomever at the village to create a really good sign. We just want to put a draft together and just have a working draft to go off of.
I think, and so far, it's a good mock-up, but instead of working with the village on what the sign should look like, maybe, I hope the Plan Commission members would agree with me that you work with Fuzzy and Susie on it, and you also work with Nissa Anderson, whose grandparents had Little Sister Resort.
Okay.
And
Last-
'cause
Okay.
Her last name is Norton now, Nissa Anderson Norton.
Okay.
We have her contact info.
Good.
Because I think it would be appropriate for those three to determine what it looks like, what it says versus the village.
Sure.
That's a great idea. Perfect. We'll do that.
Okay, that's it.
So we can,
So, I'm sorry, Bo, can you go back to the beginning of that where Anaj was talking about that the green space calculation was on page, because I was looking for it and could not find it.
yeah, it's on that cover page.
One of the questions too that I have are the homes that are on closest to Little Sister Road. How far are they from the center line of the road?
I think I have to review that with Bodwin to give you an exact answer. And Bo, sorry to interrupt Denise, but Bo, it should show up right there. I don't know why it's not rendering, but it's literally right there on my screen. I mean, not my screen, but my PDF.
Yeah, on my PDF, it didn't have that.
Yeah. Just a
It
little.
doesn't have it on anybody's PDF.
Nope.
No.
Okay, Bo, I can resend this to you. And maybe I'll have Skylar send it to you, or, just forward it. But it has it on there. And Denise, we
Oh,
can answer.
I just
got an
sent
email.
Bo a screenshot of those calcs. For some reason, you're right, they didn't render on the PDF, but you check your email, it should be coming through right now.
Okay. The other thing that we had originally had in the conditions and that we took out because we had said that, that would be part of the development agreement, but I'm looking for the FAR calculation.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? The FAR calculation?
Floor area ratio. It's
Okay.
all the square footage on all of the floors, plus the driveways, plus sidewalks, any impervious surface, but it's in the structures themselves, it is all square footage, not just the footprint.
Okay, yeah, we have the impervious surface calculation, which Skylar just sent, but we can also provide you with the interior of those inland homes.
So I've checked off most of the things that I had questions on. So can you tell me how you are determining, the 20,000 square feet per structure?
We took the inland parcel and we just, we were dividing by 12 to see that there's roughly half an acre per home. I think it's a 5.5 acre site. And if you look at the total site, it's an 8 acre site with 14 homes. But if you specifically look at the inland parcel, it's about half an acre per home.
Okay, so 5.5 acres, 12 units.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So do you know where the hydrant, if there's going to be one or multiple hydrants and where they're going to be located, or is that coming at a later date?
Skylar, could you speak to that?
Sure. If you look at, if you zoom into unit number 3, it's sort of on the upper left corner of all the condos. There's a water line that you can see separates into 3 separate ones. And right at that point, there will be a hydrant. There should be an icon there, but I think the PDF didn't render it again. If you go up a little bit with your cursor, a little up and to the left. If you follow the water line right out of unit 3, you'll see where it tees into a 4-inch water main. Right there will be a hydrant.
Okay, so there's one for the 12 units. And that's all that's required?
Yes, the hydrant for firefighting purposes is not required since they have access to all of these houses. That hydrant is mainly for flushing of water main for maintenance issues, but obviously will also be available for firefighting use.
Okay, has Chris Heck looked at these drawings at all yet, Bo?
No.
Okay. Okay, well, I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 blue check marks where you've met criteria. And I have and 10 things that still need to be addressed. So I would imagine that at the end of our conversation here, that we will have a motion to table this, and all of our questions and new plans and drawings are brought to us next month.
We would like to request a special meeting if we can provide these earlier and pay for that special meeting prior to the village board meeting.
Well, and we do that, but good luck. Plan Commission is meeting a lot. Rob?
Rob, you're muted.
Yeah, I've got a question on the storm ponds. When you say that the storm ponds would be grass seeded and straw matted, is that standard procedure for storm ponds? Not gravel or rock base?
Skylar, I'm gonna
Yeah, that is standard procedure. Those will be bio-retention ponds. Per DNR standards, you are allowed to grass them. What you're probably looking at is actually the erosion control plan, which is sort of the intermediary stage where we're just trying to secure the loose soil, which is straw matting, mulching, grass seeding.
Okay.
But
I
at the end of the
don't
day,
know
yes,
if-
they will be.
I don't know if you're
grass seeded.
familiar with stormwater retention ponds around condominiums throughout Door County, but even our inland condominiums on bluffs with stormwater retention ponds will become man-made wetlands. The proximity of these ponds, I just hope that you're planning on getting in the mosquito squad or something, because Maxwell and Braes, the villas, is the only one that I can think of that's within 3 blocks of Lake Michigan, where the seeded man-made retention ponds have actually become marsh. I see the exact same thing happening with all of the retention ponds here. It's unavoidable because of water levels.
I think what you're referring to is wet ponds, which are designed to retain a
No,
bit of water at all
I
times.
I am absolutely not. Even our dry ponds will grow cattails. I can take you to 40 condominium developments that
Okay.
are intended to be dry.
All of these ponds will have.
That's just a comment. Just
Oh,
be prepared. Just
I-
be prepared.
I fully agree with you. That is true. And these ponds will all be designed with drain tile underneath as part of the sort of mitigation for that exact issue. And also to make sure that all of the water has a final outlet to go to. So hopefully that'll be taken care of.
So this is not supposed to be wet retention.
No, this will be in effect dry detention. It's a filtration bed of about 24 inches where the water will pond up for less than 24 hours, filter through to the drain tile that's underneath, and then be expelled out.
Okay.
In theory, that's the way it's supposed to work. Again, I'd be happy to show you a myriad of examples. You're doing it all right. I'm just saying that you can't fight Mother Nature. Just be prepared for ponds.
Noted. Thank you.
Other comments or questions from Plan Commission members?
So I'm just assuming that I'm looking at the condition list. So 2, 7, 6, a couple of these can be nailed once we see the condo plan. Is that correct? Yeah, condition 2, condition.
We don't
6.
know what condition 2 is, David. You're gonna have to tell us.
Okay, golf carts, ATVs,
We'll address that in the condo declaration.
transient rentals, that'll be in the
We'll
condo.
address, yep, in the condo declaration.
I think that's it. Okay, just those two. All right.
Yep, and I think Lance has agreed in a previous letter in July to both those. So we'll we'll be addressing them in the condo declaration.
And I think it's also going to be in the development agreement, David.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, I will make a motion to table until our next Plan Commission meeting. Motion by Berto,
Second,
second by Gretzmacher. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Your time.
Carried. Okay, thank you. Item number 6, report by the zoning administrator regarding development activities, various enforcement actions, and issuance of sign and zoning permits.
Yes, so if you're on the village board, a few of these may look like repeats. I just fine tuned them because a lot of them have to do with Plan Commission as well. I just wanted to give the Plan Commission an update on the Fred and Fuzzy restrooms. We did work with Lance Crane to look to move those and relocate those bathrooms onto our property. But it was ultimately staff's decision in working with the ad hoc chair for Pebble Beach to in fact just got the bathroom that was existing there for materials and fixtures so that we can work on building our own set of bathrooms on that parking lot once we have a full plan in place. That will be a little bit longer lasting. So I just wanted to include that. As far as permitting goes, it's been pretty busy from a summer perspective with some more single family homes popping up. One being a remodel, the other being a tear down and rebuild. There's been a few accessory structure permits that have gone through, mostly just storage sheds in the backyard, things of that nature. But I am starting to see some positive activity on the Murphy commercial units there by the beach, as well as some potential down the 57 corridor. So I just wanted to pass that along just so that you have an idea of what's going on. Rob and I did do a village drive as requested by the village board once a month. We did do that drive. We did find a few minor zoning issues that need to be corrected. Most of them are complying, just need to follow up on 2 more. And then lastly, I just wanted to make sure Plan Commission was aware. Dan Klansky and I met with the Rupert and Milky as far as updating the GIS map. We are still looking to get the zoning layers included on that GIS map and making a publicly accessible map. So that an individual could click on a parcel in the village, and it will show them the specific zoning for that parcel, as well as the zoning code that applies to that specific parcel, to kind of mitigate some calls that the office gets with some basic general zoning questions. We are working on that. We're looking to have that part done by this year, except for adding the zoning information. That'll get done as we follow through with the work session and we have an overhauled code. Enforcement continues. I just added an excerpt here to give you an example. I had another temporary tent pop up without permission on a business property. I contacted them immediately and told them this needed to be removed or fines will ensue. They did remove them immediately. They just didn't understand the rules. I did explain that to them. And lastly, I would just anticipate plan commission meetings to ramp up a little bit as we get into the fall, as we're dealing with more and more larger projects that are getting ready to be presented to plan commission.
And I have seen no movement on the sale of wood.
I will follow up with that tomorrow. We can get that out of there. Even if it means my parks department driving over there and putting it on the back of a truck.
Okay, because the owner of the property is not taking care of it. Because that's what you had told me, correct? That he was supposed to address that?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
The discussion we had about the Door Hotel accessory structure made me think about our meeting last night. At what point do we revisit the door plan? There's no landscaping on Bayshore Drive. I recognize that originally there were going to be units there, but if it's going to not be any other retail units, wouldn't, at some point, can we go back and have trees put in?
You cannot go back. Those were approved landscaping plans.
With buildings on them?
There was no buildings presented. It was just future development.
Right. So if they're not doing the future development, if there is a change, certainly we would not have approved it the way that it is without, at some point in time, I think we have to have a conversation about this. If those 3 buildings are not going to be built, then I think we need to address it, because that's what was proposed. And that's actually at one point in time, what was going to be built first. And then that all changed.
Why do we think they're not going to be built in this economic economy? I don't think Mr. Schmeltz has ever implied that they're not going to be built. I think he even has tenants for them. Try building anything right now. It's not
And that's fine. And we
impossible.
can have a conversation with Chris, but Chris on a phone call with me a few months back said, well, do I have to build them?
So I understand the sentiment. We can add this to a future agenda, but it's not on the agenda tonight. So we can't go too far into discussion on this.
Okay.
I think that would be appropriate, and we can invite Chris and have that conversation.
We can always ask.
Okay, anybody have anything else? Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:44. Motion by Berto,
Second.
second by Schmitz. All in favor, respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Bo, can you hang on?
Yeah.